And welcome back to Free for All Friday, Focal Point AFR Talk, 888-589-8840. We are partnering with the Heart Cry for Revival. We believe that's the reason we start every program in prayer. We believe the great need in America is spiritual. It's not political. It's not economic. It's not social. It's not cultural. The deepest need in America is for revival, for spiritual renewal. We all know that. And the Heart Cry for Revival Conference is designed to further that goal. It's co-sponsored by the American Family Association. It's going to be April 22 to 25 at the Billy Graham Training Center at the Cove in Asheville, North Carolina. Spectacular retreat center. So go to their website to sign up and register. $40 if you register by March 1st. Go to heartcryforrevival.org, heartcryforrevival.org. Now, one of the things you have with the media is clearly impartial. I mean, they're not impartial. They are very partial. I just refer to them as ministers of propaganda for the regime, for the Obama administration. And here is Rolling Stone reporter Michael Hastings. He's an author of a BuzzFeed special book on the 2012 campaign. And in a moment of honesty, he talks about the fact that the media, they're like little puppy dogs when they get around Obama. They have almost this hero worship of Barack Obama. They completely lose all their objectivity. Let's listen.
That's the presence of Obama, even on the press corps, even on the people who follow him every day. When they're near him, they lose their mind sometimes. You know, they start behaving in ways that are juvenile and amateurish, and they swoon.
And of course you don't.
Oh, I do. No, I did. Oh, I totally. Oh, man, I first met President Obama in 2006 when he was a senator. He was in Baghdad. I was the correspondent there.
You mentioned that.
I mentioned that, yeah. And of course, I got to ask my question. So of course, I have to say, well, you know, Mr. President, this is the second time I met you. And did I ask the hardball question? Did I ask about drones? Did I ask about civil liberties? No, I did not. I guess I'm not at liberty to say what I asked about, but it was soft.
Typical.
So it's a soft question. They lose their minds. I lost my mind. I swoon every time I'm around Obama. Isn't that embarrassing? I mean, how nauseating to swoon like that kind of hero worship, virtual idolatry. He truly is, as Jamie Foxx said, the Lord and Savior of the left. Now, this is clip 26, Rob. This is John Dickerson. John Dickerson is a CBS political, I don't know what his title is with CBS, but he is a political analyst or political director or something like that with CBS. Supposed to be a journalistic outfit. He wrote a column advising President Obama to destroy the GOP. This is a guy that's supposed to be an objective journalist saying that President Obama needs to go for the jugular. He needs to pulverize the GOP. He needs to destroy them. Now, Charlie Rose has him on CBS this morning to ask him about that column, and he doubles down. Let's listen.
They thought I was giving the president my personal advice, and that's also, there was some pretty aggressive language in the piece. I wasn't trying to give advice. I was trying to highlight in a very stark way what seems like an impossible to avoid conclusion about this second term. We know the president wants to be transformational and not just bounce along in his second term. We also know he doesn't have much time before he's a lame duck. He's picked a controversial agenda for his second term. And most important, he's decided essentially to write off trying to cajole and schmooze the House GOP. So given all of those facts, what does an ambitious president try to do? The only solution I could come up with is that he gets aggressive. That seems the only option. I wrote this before the inauguration. Now he's given a speech that suggests that's exactly what he's going to do.
So the question is, are the Republicans going to fight back? He said, look, he doesn't have any choice. He said, that's not my advice. I'm just saying this is what's going to happen. President Obama is going to set out to pulverize the GOP. And so the question is the GOP ready for this? And I'm not seeing it. I don't see any strength of will. I don't see any testosterone. I don't see anything in the spinal column that would make me think these guys are ready to stand up to Barack Obama. Well, let's drop back to clip number 10. We talked about this yesterday, that our economy is actually in recession. The economy shrank in the fourth quarter of 2012. Now, Obama and his acolytes and Harry Reid trying to blame it on the Republicans. This is all their fault. They said because government spending is down. We went over that yesterday. Government spending is not down. It's up. We spent more in the fourth quarter, the government did, than it spent in the third quarter. Government spending is more in the fourth quarter of 2012 than it was in 2011. It's not because government spending went down that the economy has started to shrink. And besides, listen to President Obama, July 14, 2009. He says, look, I own this economy. Let's listen.
My administration has a job to do as well. And that job is to get this economy back on its feet. That's my job. And it's a job I gladly accept. I love these folks who help get us in this mess and then suddenly say, well, this is Obama's economy. That's fine. Give it to me. My job is to solve problems, not to stand on the sidelines and carp and gripe.
So now what's he doing? He's standing on the sidelines and he's harping and griping. Not my fault, even though I told you almost 4 years ago, give it to me, it's mine, I'll take it. Now he's harping and griping on the sidelines. Now, let's play clip 27 if you can grab that one, Rob. That's Chuck Todd, again, doing some kind of some accidental journalism here. And the question is the economy in better shape? And I got a story that 8.5 million people have dropped out of the workforce since Barack Obama's been president. 8.5 million people were in the workforce 4 years ago. They're not in the workforce today. They've disappeared. They've dropped out. They've gotten so discouraged at the lack of employment opportunities, they've given up altogether. 8.5 million people. The labor participation rate is lower now than it has been since the closing days of the Jimmy Carter administration. And Chuck Todd, NBC, is honest enough to admit it. Let's listen.
On the other hand, there is plenty of data to support the idea that the country is not better off than it was 4 years ago, and that the struggling economy continues to take a toll on families. Median household income is lower than it was in 2009. And 46 million Americans live below the poverty line, several million more than 4 years ago. The federal public debt has increased from $10.6 trillion in January 2009 to $16.4 trillion now. Then there's the big number that's exactly the same as it was 4 years ago, the unemployment rate, 7.8%, though it's down from, of course, a high of 10% in October of 2009.
So Chuck Todd said, look, people are not better off than they were 4 years ago. Now this was just as true on November 5 as it was yesterday, but Chuck Todd wasn't going to say that in November because he didn't want to interfere with the electoral chances of Barack Obama. But now that the election's over, and now that Barack Obama is not ever going to run for re-election again, now they're free to tell the truth. Now here's Harry Reid, back to clip 11. Again, his explanation of why the economy is shrinking, why we're heading into a recession. Ladies and gentlemen, the very opposite of any sort of growth. Let's listen to Harry Reid try to work his way out of this one.
He continues bad-mouthing the recovery. We are in a recovery.
Whoa! What recovery?
The moral of the fourth quarter is a repudiation of the Republican playbook.
It's all their fault.
Growth went down in the fourth quarter because of reduced government spending.
Wrong, it went up.
And a reticence of the private sector as Congress fought over the fiscal cliff. And that fight came as a result of the Republicans being so unreasonable.
Gave you a $620 billion
was,
tax increase.
A compromise that was good for the economy. The economy was rejecting the austerity and brinksmanship.
What austerity?
So let's hope the Republicans will understand that we have to move forward, that the Republican playbook of continually complaining about spending is something we know we have to do something with spending. We understand that. But there's more to making our economy recover than just continually harping on what's going on with spending.
So
Mr. President, everyone recognizes that we have to do something with spending.
What?
But we
Tell
also
us
have
what?
to do something to have a fair program.
Tell
Is
us
it
what?
really fair that to this point all the spending cuts have come from non-defense spending? The answer is no.
All right, I gave my commentary. All I'm going to say, it just aggravates me listening to that kind of bilge, another high priest from Hogwash Hill. Let's go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Let's begin with Steve, Logansport, Indiana. Steve, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. When Hillary was on the Hill,
Yes.
giving her speech, the nameplate they had in front of her was the Honorable Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I thought that was a joke too. And Sunday night, Hannity had on the people, the congressmen and senators in D.C. that they're being paid. The senators have their family as lobbyists, and the lobbyists are being paid in cash, and the Lamborghini dealership could not keep Lamborghinis on the showroom floor. They were flying out, and they're paying cash for them. He can't keep a stock of them.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Steve, we've seen the study. 7 of the top 10 richest counties in the United States now are right around Washington, D.C. It's now surpassed, the D.C. area has now surpassed Silicon Valley with the highest median income in the country. And I got to tell you, Steve, the highest median income in Washington, D.C. is going to be way more than what you're making and what I am making because of us. They're taking money out of our wallet, Steve, fleecing us, dipping into our wallets, so they in D.C. can have the highest median income in the country. It is obscene. You and I, we're not going to be driving Lamborghinis anytime soon.
No,
Thanks
I got a paid-off Durango. It's got 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, you know, I got a car. It's made in 1964. I'm still driving that thing. Our other car is 10 years old, and we're going to drive it till it drops. All right, Steve, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Rick, Joshua, Texas. Rick, you're on Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, I really appreciate your show. I
Thank you.
listen to you every day almost, and just really appreciate you challenging, the knuckleheads on Capitol Hill.
Thank you, sir.
To your point, you kind of were talking a minute ago about, the illegal issue where they might be tracing this, transferring this over to other felonies. And, well, I don't think you're too far from that. I think the next group of felonies that are felons that are going to get a free pass are the drug people. I think we're fixing to see drugs legalized in this country, and I think that's part of the Obama administration, and everybody's going to get out of jail free card. And just another nail in the coffin on this great country. And on the Boy Scouts, my little brother and I and my dad and I, we were very active in the Scouts. I'm an older man. I'm 58 years old, so I go way back to the Scouts many, many years ago. But I don't want my grandson's part of the Scouts now.
All right, Rick. Well, listen, I got to let you go up against a hard break, but there's another Boy Scout saying, look, my grandson, I don't want him in the Boy Scouts of today. And this is a suicide trip for the Boy Scouts. They don't stand firm on this. They are toast. Their history in the ash bin of history. Focal Point, AFR Talk, back in 2. Stay with us.